Thank you for joining the investor presentation for the Indian Wells Valley Water District Water Revenue Certificate of Participation Series 2018 investor call. First, I'd like to ask everyone to mute your phones or computer microphones until the question section at the end of the presentation. If you're viewing the presentation and listening on your phone at the same time, I recommend turning off your computer speakers to avoid any noise feedback. Also, as a courtesy to our presenters, please do not place your phone on hold so that we can avoid the disruption of hold music. This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on our website, www.alamocapital.com. Before we begin the presentation, I will pause for a moment on the disclaimer page. The most important takeaway from the disclaimer is that this investor presentation does not constitute a recommendation or an offer or solicitation for the purchase or sale of these certificates. Any investment decisions regarding the certificates should only be made after careful review of the complete preliminary official statement dated November 27, 2018. If you haven't received the preliminary official statement, please contact your sales representative. I'd like to introduce the speakers for this presentation. We have with us Don Zadiva, who is the District's General Manager, and Tyrell Staley, who is the District's Chief Financial Officer. My name is Jerry Liang, and I am with the underwriter Alamo Capital. Other finance team members are Bill Fowle, the Municipal Advisor, Jim Worth, the District Counsel, and James Warziniak, the Special and Disclosure Counsel. This presentation is separated into 5 sections. Don and Ty will provide the overview of the district, their water system, and the historical finances and forecast. I will speak to the structure of the certificate. I will now hand the presentation over to Don and Ty.
Good morning, this is Don. I'm not going to read these verbatim, but I just want to give you an overview of the district. We do provide water service to customers within the city of Ridgecrest. We have about a little over 12,000 connections, both residential, commercial, and industrial. As you can see, where we're located, 110 miles north of San Bernardino, about 150 miles northeast of Los Angeles. If you're familiar with California, we're near the convergence of highways 14 and 395 on the eastern side of the Sierra Range, near the southern end. We do own and operate our water supply system, and our revenues are primarily from water rate charges and fees for services. And our rates and charges are established by our board and are not subject to review of any other agency such as the Public Utilities Commission. We were incorporated as an agency in February of 1955. So next slide. This just gives you, again, an overview of where the district is located in our service area, approximately 38 square miles. Again, you can see highways 14 and 395 coming together. We're governed by a 5-member board. The names that you see there represent the board as it is today, but there's an election in November, and 2 of the current board members, Chuck Griffin and Peter Brown, were not reelected. We have 2 new board members coming on board as of Monday. They'll be sworn in. You can see their terms. A little bit about the district. Population, 33,476, and you can see the statistics there. We do have a relatively high median household income. The Sand Lake Naval Air Weapons Station is based in the Indian Wells Valley, and weapons testing and research is done there, so you have a lot of technical scientists, professional people that are employed, which drives that median household income higher than you might expect. Per capita income, $28,095. You can see those statistics, relatively low median age, young workforce. The Navy base has been recruiting people the last year, adding roughly 300 jobs, and they're anticipating adding another 300 jobs next year. So unemployment rate is relatively low. Population projection, again, primarily driven by employment on the base. So we're looking at we're seeing population relatively constant, but again, last year 300 jobs were added on the base. Again, the projection for the next year is another 300 jobs. So that population, we should see a slight increase. Next. As I mentioned, the China White Naval Air Weapons Station is the largest employer. It drives about 85% of our local economy, and it is the largest base, encompassing more than 1.1 million acres. 30% of the Navy's land holdings worldwide. The Navy located here based on the fact that it was pretty wide open space and the airspace was open, so they could do testing. The Navy does develop and test weapon systems here. They've developed the Sidewinder and Tomahawk missiles here. You may be familiar with those. And several military from other countries come here and test and train. Most recently, the Australians were here. They were leaving just last week. The Italians come, French come. It's a large base. It does a number of things, but primarily research and testing. Water system, we have one source of water for our district, groundwater, and as you saw previously, about 38 square miles. Average annual water consumption about 5.8 million gallons per day. You can see the statistics of the infrastructure in terms of the pipeline, in terms of the tank, storage capacity. 10 wells actually now are active. We do have another one drilled that we'll be putting in service within the next year, and another one in reserve that we acquired from agriculture that will be connected at some point in the future when demand requires it. We do have booster facilities within the system, and we do have backup for wells should there be a power outage. We have generators at well locations that for standby power. Just statistics on a number of connections to show you how we've done. As I said, we're somewhere currently around 12,000 connections total. You can see the breakdown in terms of single family, multifamily, commercial, and public, and the revenues associated with those classes of customers. This is a list of our top customers with the revenue and the percentage. Community college, Ridgecrest Hospital, and some other properties. I'll note in terms of employment in the area, of course, the base is the number one employer. Following that, we do the Ridgecrest Regional Hospital, the school district, and Seals Valley Minerals, which is a mining operation in the next valley to the east of the Seals Valley. At this point, CFO Kyle takes over.
Good morning. This slide here is showing our current water service charges. The table to focus on is on the right with our average monthly charge. Currently, a 3/4 inch meter in Zone A would be paying roughly $46.21 per month. We do have proposed rate increase going to the board on Monday. The next slide will show what those rates will be in starting July 1st, 2022. And you see a small increase to $48.01. This is a comparative service charge slide showing other water districts within the region and area, or at least the closest. You can see Ridgecrest with the current and even proposed rates is in the bottom third of the group. We have a $17.7 million 5-year capital improvement plan. with that extending to 28.1 if you go out 10 years. We're looking at $14 million in the next couple years from the bond proceeds for capital improvements and upgrades. And anything outside of that, we are strictly cash funding. You see $7 million in 18-19, about $7 million in 19-20, and then it drops down into our cash funded projects. The next slide is showing our water system historical net revenues and debt service coverage. You see we were bringing in 17-18 about $11.4 million and expenditures of 6.5. We have debt service of 2.7 million. The main takeaway here is our debt service coverage. In the last 5 years, we've been at or above 1.5. It looks like 1.8 in our debt service coverage. Looking out into the future, we also wanted to make sure we maintain a healthy debt service coverage. Once again, not dipping below the 1.8 mark in the next 5 years. Our historical cash and cash equivalents, basically our reserves, we have been at around $10 million in the last 5 years. The district feels it's very important to have those capital reserves in case of going out to fund for debt service or in the case of emergencies or disasters. The levels of the district reserve policies are consistent with other similar systems. Findings by AWWA. Our operating reserve policy maintains a minimum of 180 days of operating costs. We also have a capital improvement replacement reserve of $2 million with no max, and a couple other reserves for vehicles and computer replacements as those items need to be replaced.
All right, well, thank you, Don and Bryce, for the wonderful overview of the district. I want to talk about the structure of the certificate. So the certificates have an underlying rating of AA- by Standard & Poor's, and they have been approved for bond insurance by AA-rated Assured Guaranty Municipal. The district plans to issue about $27 million, with $14 million going towards a new project, and the balance used to refund their outstanding 2009 certificate. Debt service coverage is projected, as Ryan mentioned earlier, to go from about 1.8 times in 2020, stepping up to 1.87 times in 2023. The certificates will be sold on a tax-exempt fixed-rate basis with the final maturity of April 1st, 2049, and structured with a 10-year par call. These certificates are secured by the system net revenues of the district pursuant to an installment sale agreement. Although interest payments are semi-annual and principal payments are due annually, the district has agreed to make monthly installment payments sufficient to pay principal and interest due on the certificate. The 2018 certificates are on parity with the district's 2016 loan, with a rate covenant of 1.2 times and a 1.2 times additional obligation test. No future debt can be issued senior to the 2016 or the 2018 certificate. This chart represents the annual debt service of the district, including the preliminary estimate of debt service on the Series 2018 certificates. As you can see, the only outstanding obligation is the 2016 loan. Debt service goes from $2.4 million through 2036, and then stepping down to $1.9 million to 2039, and then about $800,000 thereafter. So in regards to the timeline, on December 10th, the district's board will have their public hearing to adopt their new multi-year rate, and after approval by the board, we expect to price and take orders on December 12th. with bond closing on December 27th. And with that, I will open things up. You can unmute your phones and provide or ask any questions. Okay, well, hearing no questions, I'd like to thank Ty and Dawn for making your time available for this investor presentation. Again, the presentation has been recorded and will be posted on our website, www.alamocapital.com. Thank you very much for your participation.